Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin Nabiyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. Rabbi shrah li sudri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Students of class 2, our lesson today is grammar. So we are going to continue our discussion from the previous meeting. So let's start by reciting al-basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we are going to discuss now about the adjective in comparison. Okay, adjective in comparison. We have done the discussion about the adjective, all kind of adjectives, and we are going to step to the next chapter, which is different from the previous chapter, the kind of adjective. Okay, adjective in comparison. There are 3 degrees of comparison of adjective. Adjective in comparison. What is the meaning of comparison? To compare. To compare between. It means to give the result, or to give your view about something to something. Okay, to compare. In Melayu language we call it membandingkan. Okay, there are 3 degrees of comparison of adjective. The first is positive, denotes the simple degrees. I have a beautiful horse. Okay, positive. The first degree is positive from the adjective in comparison. Okay, we use the adjective to compare something. Okay, next is the comparative itself, denotes a higher degree. LB has a more beautiful horse. Okay, if I say I have a beautiful horse, it's already the positive thing and the positive adjective. Okay, if I say LB has a more beautiful horse, more beautiful, that denotes the comparison of the horse. Okay, that means LB want to compare his horse to another horse. Okay, and the third is the superlative, denotes the highest degree. Fahmi has the most beautiful horse. Okay, that means Fahmi want to compare between his horse and another horses, and he judged that his horse is the most beautiful horse between the horses. Okay, now the way of comparing adjective. So you can feel, okay, you can understand and you can feel what is different between these 3 degrees of comparison. The first is just positive. You just say that your thing is something. Okay, your thing is a thing. I am a diligent boy. You have a good pen. I have a good book. Okay, like that. The comparative, you want to compare between your horse and your horse. No, you want to compare between something to another thing. Okay, the superlative, you want to confess that your thing is the best from the rest of the things. Okay, the way of comparing adjective. To compare the adjective, there are 3 main ways by using the word more. Okay, how to compare between 2 things and you want to use adjective. For example, using more, positive, expensive. In comparative, more expensive. If someone says that I have a fancy car, I have a $6,000 car. Okay, $6,000 car. So if your car costs $7,000, that means you have more expensive car. Okay, you can say that I have more expensive car. Okay, so superlative, okay, most expensive. So here using more, okay, and using most in all adjective or of more than 2 syllables. What the meaning of syllables? Syllables means penggalan kata. Okay, for example, expensive, there are 3 syllables, that mean more than 2 syllables. Okay, important, valuable, like that. Okay, These examples are using more to show the comparison between it and another. Okay, to compare and to show the superlative, you have to use most. Okay, more and most. Expensive, more expensive, most expensive. Important, more important, most important. Valuable, more valuable, most valuable. Okay, in the most adjectives of 2 syllables. 2 syllables. This is more, these are more than 2 syllables. In this column, okay, only 2 syllables. Famous, honest, selfish, stupid. You can use more and most. Famous, comparative, more famous. Superlative, most famous. Honest, more honest, most honest. Selfish, more selfish, most selfish. Stupid, more stupid, and most stupid. Okay, these words, okay, are 2 syllables. Okay, we learn about more than 2 syllables, and we learn about 2 syllables. So here, okay, if only, okay, by adding er and est, okay, there are 2, actually there are 2 way to make comparative and superlative. The first, by using more and most, and here to add er and est at the end. Okay, when you use er and est at the end for the positive, if the positive ends in 2 consonants added by er for comparative and er for superlative, if the positive ends in 2 consonants, okay, for example, gh, rt, double L. Okay, if you find that there are 2 consonants at the end of the positive adjective, you use er or est. Er for comparative and est for the superlative. High, higher, highest. Short, shorter, shortest. Small, smaller, smallest. Okay, and second, if the positive ends in 1 consonant and preceded by 2 vowels added by er, for example, p, d, it ends with p, but before p there are 2 vowels, double e. Okay, so when you find something like this, you use er for comparative and est for superlative. Grade, before t there are a and e. Before T there are A and E. Before K there are A and E. So you say in comparative, greater, nearer, weaker, deepest, greater, nearest, weakest. Okay, this is second kind. This is the first kind when you have to use ER and EST, and this is the second kind, and this is the third kind if the positive ends in 1 consonant preceded by short vowel. Okay, the final consonant is doubled. The final consonant is double. Okay, for example, big. Okay, in short vowel, big, there are no 2 consonants. There are no 2 vowels before consonant. There is only a single vowel before the consonant. So you add another consonant. Yeah, you add another G and add again by ER for comparative, and add again by EST for superlative. For example, big, bigger, biggest, hot, hotter, hottest, thin, thinner, thinnest. Okay, this is the third kind. Okay, how to use, when to use ER and EST as to compare and superlative. Okay, to compare for comparative and superlative. Okay, the fourth kind, if the positive ends in E added by R for the comparative and E and ST for the superlative. If the positive ends in E, for example, brave, late, wise, you have only add R and ST without E, like the first example. Okay, brave, braver. You don't need to add another E because there is an E at the end. Okay, brave, braver, bravest, late, later, latest, wise, wiser, wisest. Okay, so this is the fourth kind. There are many kind, or many way, or many place to use ER and EST for comparative and superlative. Okay, the fifth kind, if the positive ends in Y, the Y is changed into I, added by ER for the comparative and EST for the superlative. For example, dry ends by Y, so in comparative, Y you have to change it, becomes I. Dry, drier, driest. Easy, easier, easiest. Happy, happier, happiest. Heavy, heavier, heaviest. Pretty, prettier, prettiest. Okay, this is the fifth kind. The sixth kind, if the Y is preceded by a vowel. Okay, for a note that the previous kind, okay, before Y is the consonant R, S, P, V, and T. Okay, here, if the Y is preceded by a vowel, okay, you only add by ER and EST, like a normal gay, gayer, and gayest. Okay, and the next kind, there are some words which have two forms in comparative and superlative. There are some words you can use more and most, and you can use ER and EST at you can use both of them. Okay, for example, clever, you can use clever or more clever. Bitter, you can use bitterer or more bitter. Tender, tenderer, more tender. Narrow, narrower, more narrow. Shallow, shallower, more shallow. Okay, clevers, most clever. Bitters, most bitter. Tenderest, most tender. Narrowest, most narrow. Shallowest, most shallow. So you have to broaden your reading material to know which one is using this and using this and using this and using this, and which one can use both most and more, EST and ER, and which one is using more and most and only two ways. Okay, more than 2 syllables or 2 syllables. Okay, and there are also irregular comparison. Irregular comparison, that mean you don't use ER or you don't use EST, you don't use more, you don't use most. Okay, these comparisons are irregular. Okay, not like another comparison. For example, good. If you want to say anyone is more good, you say better. You wouldn't say gooder or more good. Okay, better and superlative, best. Bad, worse, worse. Many more, most. Much more, most. Far, farther or further, farthest, furthest. Old, older or elder, oldest or eldest. Little, less, least. Late, later, last. Okay, these are irregular comparison. Before that, a regular comparison. These are irregular comparison. How to know this irregular comparison? There is no particular theory to study how to change the positive to the comparative to superlative. You have to broaden your material reading so you can find the word of irregular comparison for adjectives. Okay, that is our discussion today, and I hope you understand. If you don't, please don't hesitate to ask me, and please be specific what you don't understand. Don't say to me, sir, I don't understand what we are discussing today. What you don't understand? Okay, tell me specific. Which one? Irregular comparison. For example, you want to ask about irregular comparison. Ask me about the irregular comparison. Don't say I don't understand. What you don't understand? All of them. How can explain in maybe in 10-15 minutes, so you don't get anything from my lesson. Okay, so that be focused and open your book and open your dictionary. So be focused. Okay, give it time. Okay, let's close our study today by setting kafarat al-majlis. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Good luck in your study. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.